Hi, my name is Aaron Silvera. I'm in 10th grade and I don't have that much time to explain the whole of the 2020 Electoral College battle, so let's get right into it. Okay, super quick Electoral College recap. Each state gets a certain number of votes based-ish on population with a boost to smaller states. The candidate with the most votes in any state wins all of the electoral votes in that state. The first candidate to get to 270 electoral votes out of the 538 available wins. Wait, that's an even number. What happens if there's a tie? I don't have time to get into that right now. Pause the video if you want to read about it, but shortest answer ever? Trump wins? Probably. Okay. There are 5 regions that I want to talk about, each with their own characteristics and leanings. I can't get too into detail for any of them, but I can tell you what's going on in general. First up, Pacific region. There are only 3 states in this region, and Alaska and Hawaii make 5, making it one of the smaller ones in that respect. But it contains states that are usually disenfranchised by the Electoral College. They get less votes than they should, so it's bigger than you think. This region is the most straightforward. 4 Democratic states, 1 Republican. All of these are pretty safe for the candidates ahead in those states, so Biden isn't going to have to fight that much for California or Washington. Biden takes a lion's share of the votes here, but Trump still has time to catch up. Next region, Midwest. The Midwest is much more evenly divided. It's also the biggest benefactor of the Electoral College's boost to small states. In past elections, the map has looked like this, but Arizona is getting more and more Democratic in the recent-ish election cycles, and now the map looks like this. Wait, what's that stripe over Nebraska doing there again? Okay, for reasons too complicated to explain right now, everything Nebraska does with its electoral process is weird and convoluted, but TLDR, Nebraska has 1 electoral vote that might swing the other way, we just don't know. Okay, next. The Northeast is made up of all the super Democratic northern states, and DC too, which has voted Democratic in literally every election cycle since it was given 3 electoral votes in 1961. Interestingly, Virginia and Maryland used to be a part of the South, but as time went on and Virginia and Maryland urbanized, they became more like the Northeast than the South. Even though it was a slave state, Maryland actually stayed in the Union during the Civil War, which I'm grateful for because DC, our nation's capital, is like right there, and trying to win a civil war with your capital in between 2 enemy states is like trying to win a game of chess with your king starting there. Good luck with that. But today, the Northeast is largely Democratic, with New Hampshire being a little less certain, but still probably Biden. And Maine also has that same stripe as Nebraska, so Biden might lose an electoral vote there in a pleasing symmetry. The next region we have is the South, and for a good few decades, the South existed as a single voting bloc called the Solid South, on display in all of these elections. Most notably, the election of 1976, which elected Jimmy Carter directly out of the Deep South, and the election of 1864, where the South decided not to vote in Abraham Lincoln's re-election campaign. And while that's technically unconstitutional, whether or not the South had to obey the Constitution at the time was a little disputed. Today, the South votes largely Republican, and the notion of the Solid South still holds up today, right? Okay, Virginia and Maryland left with DC, we talked about that already. And North Carolina's a toss-up state now, that makes sense. Obama won North Carolina in 2008. Wait, Georgia's a close race now? That hasn't happened in decades. Oh, Florida's a close race now. That's perfectly fine. I mean, name one time where a super close election hinged on Florida's electoral votes, making the Florida the kingmaker in a nightmarish month of recounting that relied on novel and hard-to-read ballots that was eventually decided by the Supreme Court in a partisan split. Name one time. Right, so the Solid South is a bit of a misnomer nowadays, but at least the Republicans still have the 38 electoral votes from Oh no. Moving right along, the final region we have to cover is the Rust Belt. Now, the Rust Belt played Kingmaker in 2016, and that's because the Rust Belt states are super finicky. Trump won most of the states in 2016, clinching Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes by less than 1 percentage point, but Obama won most of those states in 2012 and 2008. The Rust Belt looks to be leaning toward Biden this time, who appeals more to them than Clinton did, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way. I'd also watch to see what Republican legislatures in these states do to try and ensure a Trump victory. So that's it. 5 regions, 51 separate elections, and 538 electoral votes. It looks like Biden is pulling ahead right now, and that lead may grow, but there can only be one winner.